Success Insight shares the stories of the people with passion and drive who make things happen in the world. Here's your host, Howard Fox.
Hello, everybody. This is Howard Fox, and I want to welcome you to another episode of the Success Insight podcast. Our guest today is Karen Briscoe. Now, Karen is an entrepreneur, real estate professional, author, and podcaster. Karen is the creator of the 5-Minute Success Concepts and host of the 5-Minute Success podcast, which has an amazing array of guests who achieve success at a high level in business and in life. Karen's books include Flip Time, Flip Life, which is a heroine's journey, and it's a piece of that 5-minute success story. She is the author of Commit to Get Leads and Real Estate Success in 5 Minutes a Day. There is definitely a recurring theme here about 5-minute success and those concepts. Now, Karen is also a graduate of the John Maxwell Team Certification Program for coaching, speaking, and training, and she also speaks on national and local level stages on the best of the 5-minute success, Flip Time, Flip Life. I'm exhausted already. Karen, welcome to the Success Insight podcast.
Well, what's not to like about Success Insight and talking to someone that has a success in 5 minutes a day? We have a lot in common and to share.
I'm telling you, there's collaboration, future opportunities ahead of us. And I was excited, and I'm excited all the time, that I get some really interesting guests on the Success Insight podcast. And as a coach myself, I'm always interested in other entrepreneurs and what their models are, and really circumstances in their life that really serve to accelerate change and transformation and insight. And so, Karen, just start off a little bit for our audience about who you are, a little bit about your background, just to kind of create a little bit of that context.
So you mentioned that I'm a real estate agent, and in our profession, that's called a mega agent because I run a team. I'm the principal of a team, have a business partner. And in the Washington, D.C., Northern Virginia metro region, typically sell about $75 to $100 million in real estate a year. So
that's a lot.
Yeah, it's a high performing team. And I entered the residential space from commercial and really felt like I found my calling, because the commercial side is very what they call the hard side. It's the negotiations and market knowledge and strategy, and I certainly have skill sets in that. Residential brings in what's more known as the soft side, which is relationships, people skills, helping people move through change, which is what we do every day. Transitions are on the spectrum of stressometer for a reason. And met with some success pretty quickly and became partners with a person who was number 10 in the nation at the time. And she passed away, sadly, the same month that the financial markets crashed and the real estate market crashed. You may remember that was September 2008. So I set about to rebuild and met with a lot of challenges and a lot of opportunities. Have a business partner with me for a decade now. Lizzie Conroy joined me in 2009 and achieved renewed success, right? I mean, when you survive a crash and something like your partner dying, everybody wants to know, well, how did you do it, right? That's kind of success leaves clues. So I started.
We want those breadcrumbs, yeah.
Yeah. So, I was like, oh, but how did you do it, right? And so I started doing some training and speaking and coaching. And that led to people often saying that they didn't have enough time to invest in their business and personal development. And I just kind of called them out on it and said, well, do you have 5 minutes a day? And everybody said they had 5 minutes a day. And there's lots of information out there, right, Howard? I mean, that's why I like the fact that it's called insight, because that information could be tsunami-like if you don't pull out the insights into it, right?
Exactly. And
also, if it's just insights and not inspiring, it can at some point become boring. So I combined insight and inspiration to create more of a transformative type of material, which is in a daily reader format. And that's where the 5-minute success came about. And now that I've been on this journey for 4 years with this book, I've discovered there's a lot of reasons why it works. It really is kind of like, now I see why it's been so effective. When I came up with the idea, I didn't foresee all this, but now it seems clear, as many things do in hindsight.
Well, I really love the fact that the 5-minute success and the inspiration, and it's setting up that routine. And I really love that. Start at the beginning of the day. Typically, that's probably our best time. At the end of the day, we're tired, trying to get things, thinking about tomorrow. We check that last email and we go to bed and we're exhausted. I don't have time. But at the beginning of the day, and I love the fact that you had mentioned that on the website, is start at the beginning of the day, take that 5 minutes, get it, and it can just be profound in the transformation that occurs. And I'm wondering if you could walk us through a little bit about that success, that 5 minute success process. What does that model look like?
Well, so you have just really nailed it. And that Jim Rohn quote comes to mind, that success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. And it's habit formation that has been proven to help people achieve success at a higher level, because willpower and time management techniques and all these other strategies often don't work because life just has a way of getting in the way, right?
Life happens.
And so we have to be intentional about it. And so the starting of the day with the reading for 5 minutes, and there's several reasons why it's so impactful. One is that when you feed your mind and you start your day that way, then your rest of your day is more likely to go better, right? Also, ingesting in small amounts can actually have more of an impact, because this is what happens with a lot of reading and training is it's a tsunami-like, and it's almost too much information, and then you can't figure out how to apply it or remember it when you need it.
It's that garden hose effect.
It is.
You're just trying to drink from it and you can't.
Yeah. So the small amounts, more likely to remember and apply it when you need it. So the wealth of knowledge is there, but it's what I call dispersed in a different format of being a daily reader. And then it also does set up this habit, because there's a lot of research on habit formation. Again, all of this I discovered after creating the 5 Minute Success, but there's a reason why setting up a habit such as a morning routine that includes reading for your business or personal development has such an impact, because the idea of a habit is that you actually are going to continue to do it. For example, you wouldn't stop brushing your teeth just because you had mastered it, right? So the habit formation, many people talk about the number of days it takes to create. This is where the 66-day challenge came in,
right? Because
their most commonly cited research is the 66 days. So the first 21 days or 3 weeks of starting a new habit, most people are what they call evangelists. They're so excited and pumped up. They're telling the world really where to go every day. And I use the example of, I'm sure you've met somebody who started a new diet or Whole30 or Peloton.
Keto for me.
Yeah, keto. Okay.
It's my year anniversary, by the way.
Really? So you figured it out?
Yeah, right away.
So let's just kind of see how you went through it. So the first 21 days you're excited about. The next 21 days is kind of an evaluatory period. People, something happens that causes them to think about it a second time. Do I really want to do this? Is this it's almost like a dip. And Seth Godin talks about the dip. And he says, anything that's worth doing or meaningful, you should power through it, right? So people need to know you need to power through this dip. And then the next 21 days or 3 weeks, most people are starting to experience the benefits of it. So you must have started experiencing the benefits of it.
Well, I have to share, in the spirit of full disclosure, I was addicted to 3 packs of caramel apples. I don't know if you've ever gone to the grocery store and they sell like a 3-pack, these little miniature caramel apples with nuts.
Yes.
In the fall time frame, I went hog wild. And I think over a couple of days of 3 packs, I just was feeling really bad. And literally I have a blood sugar monitor, which I was checking, and let's just say it was extremely high. And I scared myself out of my comfort zone. And it's like, uh-oh. So I was very motivated to have a new habit.
So you were clearly motivated. And sometimes it's something like that causes people to want to make a change. And setting up habits to success is one of the best ways to implement change. And motivators can be internal motivators, or they can be external motivators. So in your situation, it was a health internal motivator, but for some other people, it could be a job change or loss or a death, a divorce, or it could also be external things like the economy changes, there's a shift in the economy. So there are things that happen that cause people to evaluate their life and what they want to do about it. But you must have set up some sort of habit, because for success, most people do in order to sustain it.
Almost definitely. And I'm curious, in the work that you're doing with helping your clients and maybe it's your members of your team, but who are the recipients of the work that you're doing right now in establishing these success habits? I'm curious about what some of those stories might be. I mean, I just gave you mine that is unique to me, but you must hear a lot of stories.
Yes, and mostly related to productivity and in sales and entrepreneurship. I find that because real estate success in 5 minutes a day, meant to my audience is in those professions. That being said, the fundamentals or the principles apply pretty universally across professionals and also companies and that kind of thing. So that is probably the biggest audience. And then a lot of coaches and authors also commit to get leads because it's a 66-day challenge. A lot of people want to jumpstart their business development, prospecting, lead generation. So a lot of people will reach out about it from that perspective. But what I found is this trajectory, if you will. So I find that a lot of people, they focus on their productivity and they get that up and running. And then sometimes they look around, and I've had this happen myself, and they go, okay, so what if I achieve all of this and yet I still wonder if there's something more? Or what if I run out of time achieving all of this and I've not pursued something that would have been meaningful to me? And so that's where the whole Flip Time, Love Life came about, because that's where a lot of people on this journey, I don't want to say it's the next step, it should probably be the first step, but it seems to be that's the way the progression is. It's kind of the Maslow hierarchy of needs, right? So people tend to focus on their physical needs, their safety needs, or relationship needs, or STEAM needs. And then they think about, oh, what is the meaning of all this?
So tell us a little bit more about this latest book, Flip Time, Love Life. And I love the fact it's a heroine's journey. So it's actually, you're taking the reader through a story, which is a nice way to take in the information and look for some, oh, wait a minute, it's like they're speaking to me, versus here's your 5 sections and bullets and sub-bullets. And the journey is very powerful. So tell us a little bit more about that book.
Well, so as you mentioned, that's true. That's why a lot of literature through the years has been in story format. People are more likely to remember it. You'll become more engaged with the character and what the character is going through, and you'll often start seeing the gems of wisdom in there. And so that's why I wanted it to be in a story format, although there's lots of lessons. And the idea is back to the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If you follow that theory, then you work your way up the pyramid, and then you focus on self-actualization once all the other ones have been met. So the idea of Flip Time is to flip the pyramid and start with self-actualization or meaningful work. Joseph Campbell in the Hero's Journey calls it follow your bliss. Gay Hendricks calls it living in your zone of genius. The idea is that whatever your calling is, so a heroine's journey or hero's journey is a call to adventure, but it could be a calling to creativity or a calling to contribution, or there could be a lot of different callings, whatever your calling is. And what I found is that when that goes first, then everything else becomes better. So if you think about it, if you're in alignment with yourself and what you're called to do, you're going to have higher self-esteem. That is like the ultimate self-esteem, right? And you're going to be in a better relationship with the people, either in your family, your friends, or your community, or your business associates. And then you'll actually be more productive, because if you're actually doing the work you were called to do, ever since I've flipped the pyramid for me, I have been almost doubled my business. It's been phenomenal because I am more in tune with my clients and my customers and their needs, because I recognize my gifts and talents and how I can help them in a higher level way. And even your physical self, because if you feel good about yourself, you're going to take care of your physical self. And there's nothing greater, more secure or safe than knowing that you are being your you as you, if you will. So that is the physical needs all end up taking care of yourself. And it really is a very much of an abundance mentality. Many people use the example of the airlines, right? And the oxygen mask drop, right?
Sure. Take care of yourself first.
Right. And that's a survival perspective. And I would say that if you're on an airplane and an oxygen mask drop, absolutely put the mask on first and then help other people. What I'm proposing, or what I see, is what I call a thrival, and that is abundance, where in most situations there is ample oxygen, if not an abundance of oxygen, right? And so to look at life in that perspective means that by me thriving, then I help you thrive, and everybody then it becomes this ripple effect, if you will.
You know, it dawns on me with the pursuit of the abundance and the self-actualization, starting with the tip of the hierarchy, that it makes sense in a conversation you and I are having right now. It makes sense. Yeah, but when we look at folks out there who are coming to our workshops, listening to our podcast, there is so much of my story is unique, or my problem is unique, and I have all these things. And it's almost as though we've got to somehow help people just stop what you're doing. Take a breath, count to 10, find some way just to, and that's, I guess, where I love the fact that helping people at least start down this path with those first 5 minutes a day. Think about what's working, what's not working, what you'd like to do different, how your day is going to be potentially, and just start the process there so that you can choose to go out the day in an abundant way. And I think that's a choice. But for some people, I think there's just that difficulty of even getting on that path. Well, I don't know what your thoughts are there.
Oh, absolutely. I find that as well. And usually what I hear is people don't have enough time.
Right.
And that's where I have a Lao Tzu quote, time is a created thing. To say I don't have time is like saying I don't want to. So it's oftentimes people, they're set in their ways, right? And that's kind of the definition of insanity or stupidity or whatever, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result.
Oh, right.
Right? I mean, I know you are familiar with that phenomenon.
Oh, yes.
And I myself. And so I actually had that epiphany when I said I wanted to write a book 4 years ago, and I kept saying I didn't have enough time. And I had this epiphany that the only one stopping me was me. So how to break that cycle is, well, first of all, you have to change the way you look at it. And that's a famous Wayne Dyer quote. If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So really, that's why this idea of flipping on what people do not even think about time management and productivity and work-life balance and all that, because it's not working for them. If it was, they'd already be doing what they said they wanted to do.
We'd already be doing it, yes.
Yeah, we'd already be doing it.
Now, are you able to work with the groups that you're speaking in front of from the stage, whether, a larger stage, smaller stage, just help them in the moment, kind of practice some of these exercises? Ideally, they're going to have the book in front of them and they can take it back home and begin to use it. I'm curious what their experience is when they're coming to an event and you're speaking from the stage and you're giving them some ideas to take back home or to work with in the moment.
It's amazing because you could almost see the light bulb go off, when people get it, right? Where they go, oh, I get it. It's me. And I need to change the way I'm looking at things. And then I need to do something different to build a habit, the success habit. And that's why I go back to the habit formation, because many people do feel overwhelmed. And because of that, then they don't do anything, right? So what I encourage is to start small and build up. So that's why the 5 minutes, because it gives people a very finite, fixed amount that they're going to focus on. And what often happens is they'll start to experience the benefits of it, and then they'll want to do more. So the idea is that if you know that you only are committing to 5 minutes, you can keep that commitment to yourself. There's a lot of research on many habits and how to help people set good habits. And that is a fundamental one that I found really works pretty universally.
Excellent. I'm curious too now with your podcast, the 5 minute podcast, is who are your guests that are coming on, and what's the format for the episodes?
So the principles of the 5 minute success I found are pretty universally true for most sales, entrepreneurs, coaches, people in business, but I've also found it to work for lawyers and ministers and others. So the fundamentals are, the first one is commit to get leads. So everybody is in some form of business development, prospecting, lead generation. In sales, it's a customer or client. For, say, a dentist, it's patients, right? For churches, it's members. Then everybody goes through some sort of process, and that's called consult to sell. So some people call that conversion, but that's where you actually take a customer or client through your process so that then there's a transaction at the end. There's actually, in business, there's money, but even nonprofits, right? Nonprofits are generating revenue. So they take a donor through a process so that there's money that comes through the other end. And what often happens is this transactional nature of only as good as your next deal. So you get a customer client, you take them through the process, you wake up, oh my gosh, I got to do it over again. And then you're only as good as your next deal. It's kind of a hamster wheel. So to get so that it's sustainable and scalable. I call that connect to build and grow. So leverage is key on that, systems, and then that leads to success, thinking, activities, and vision. Because mindset and motivation is what kind of runs the whole engine, if you will. It surrounds everything. So people often have a vision of what they want their business and life to be or to look like. And then the idea is to think about it. And some people call it affirmations, but it could also be thinking like planning and logistics and systems. And then the actual activities. So there are many coaches out there that they're really good on the affirmations, they're really great on the vision, but they leave out that middle where you really have to do the work. So what are the activities that are going to carry the vision, the ideas to fruition, to the objective? And so that is what surrounds it all. And the podcast came about because I discovered that there's so many applications. And it's really fascinating. Interviewed over 200 people. And even though you would think all of them would say basically the same thing, they all have a different way of viewing it and doing it in their business and life.
Right. Well, we all have our own story, and we just filter things through our unique lenses. And I love the fact that everybody is unique, but the model cuts across. It's like having the good chicken stock. I mean, I'm a cook, so a good chicken stock. It's perfect for anything.
It's your base.
Yeah, it's your base. I'm curious too, you're highly successful as an entrepreneur in the real estate. Where do you see yourself going in this journey? I mean, you have the ability to affect thousands of people's lives through this kind of work. Where do you see yourself going in the next so many years? I hate to have a 5-year plan. This reminds me of my consulting days, but where do you see yourself with this body of work?
What is the next? Yes. Well, that's the heroine's journey. It's amazing because the heroine or the hero goes off on the adventure, the call to adventure. I see my calls being a call of creativity and a call of contribution. And then leaving your ordinary life, right, your comfort zone, and then these transformational leaps happen along the way, and then you come back returning with treasures. And there's so many calls, and that's probably the biggest challenge is all of the opportunities, right? I think that the creativity and the contribution are going to be the biggest next, if you will, over the next 5 years, because I feel like I just got started with that. And another area that I have launched recently, and that is the 80 by 80 movement, milestones and medals, challenges for life. So as often happens when people reach a certain age, health becomes a wealth, if you will, right? To have good health. And I have discovered that having challenges, and by challenges, I mean either some sort of race. I did my first sprint triathlon when I was 59, so when I'm 60. So I was surprised to find that I actually placed the fastest in the novice category for my age. And I was like, oh my gosh, I could do this. So I want to use this as a springboard to encourage other people. So 80 events, if you will, by the time you turn 80. So you can do the math depending on how old you are. Mm-hmm. I'm 60, so that's 20 years, right, to do 80 events. So that's 4 a year. Might be a good idea to front load some of them.
There you go.
So that's actually part of this flipping time journey, because I have found that back to everything becomes better is that energy is really, to me, a higher commodity, if you will, than time. Mm-hmm. And that the health component is key to the energy. And I want to inspire other people and encourage them on their movement journey. So that's one of the things that it's going to be one of the forefronts over the next few years.
Fantastic. And in the keeping this movement alive and going, and are there any audiences that you would like to take under your wing, so to speak, that if I can make a difference to a particular audience, are any out there in your future, or are there right now? Well,
I would think that people that are over the age of 50, because that's my community, right? Yeah. And also the math works, 50, you're doing 80 by 80. If you're 20, 80 by 80 probably isn't going to be as significant for you. So that, and I would say people that wouldn't naturally be inclined to do movement challenges, because the idea is for it to be a challenge. Now, that being said, I am one of the people that I'm going to interview on one of the first podcast episodes for 80 by 80 in January 2020. She is in her 70s, and she's had won 2 Guinness Book of World Records for bike rides she's done across the United States. And so she's got a fascinating story, but she did not start till she was like 57. So that's kind of the message, is that people that are like, it's never too late. I'm going to recognize that my energy level, which is associated with my health and fitness, is going to impact my quality of life, and it's more, instead of lifespan, it's more health span focus.
Very good. Very good. Now, if our listeners would like to continue to learn more about you and your work, where's the best place for them to go to do that?
So almost everything can be found on the number 5 Minute Success. And that would be the website, Facebook group, the podcast is 5 Minute Success. If you're interested in 80 by 80 movement, that has its own website, and it does have a great tracking for people who want to start the challenge, and it's no charge. You go on and track. And I would like to encourage people to think about what kind of challenges, if it's like I hiked Machu Picchu with my son, but I've also done a couple of like turkey trots and fun runs and those kind of things, to have these milestone things that encourage me to stay in movement.
Fantastic. Well, we will put the link to the 5minutesuccess.com on our website. We'll also get the link from you and put that for the 80 by 80 movement. And as far as the books are concerned, we'll definitely provide a link back to the author page on Amazon so folks can learn more about Flip Time, Love Life, Commit to Get Leads, and the Real Estate Success, which are part of your 5 Minute series. Are there any other books coming up in the 5 Minute series? Just curious.
So the Commit to Get Leads is the 66-day challenge. There will be other 66-day challenges for the other components. So the Consult to Sell and the Connect to Build and Grow and Success Thinking Activities and Visions. So stay tuned for those.
Fantastic. Karen, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to spend with us on our podcast, Success Insight. We wish you the very best and look forward to hearing more about the progress on your 80 by 80 challenge as well.
And I look forward to more insights from you.
There you have it, folks. We have just chatted with Karen Briscoe, entrepreneur, real estate professional, author and podcaster, about the 5 Minute Success concepts and flipping the Maslow's hierarchy. Start with your best life ever, self-actualization, make it happen. And it starts with just one small baby step and then a few more and a few more. And before you know it, life is, whatever your goals are going to be different. So definitely take advantage of that. And we will put links once again back to Karen's website, the 5minutesuccess.com, on our show notes, as well as links back to the book so that you can find on Amazon. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. And until we meet again, go out there, have a phenomenal day, and we'll see you in the next episode of Success Insight Podcast. Take care now.
Success Insight is a production of Fox Coaching and First Story Strategies. Find us online, successinsightpodcast.com.